everybody, and welcome to the Playmakers Fantasy Football Sunday. I'm Dick Jackman, as you know. Anyways, we've got a great show for you today, the fastest 5 minutes in fantasy football news. We're going to take a look at the draft results, but more importantly, what you may not have noticed or noticed during the draft, we added a new team. That's right, the Dorchester Diesels join us. Noah Oshry from Dorchester is now replaced Jim Rogers and Moe's Tavern. Anyway, so Dorchester will assume the rights to Adrian Peterson and LeGarrette Blount. So those are his keepers, and we'll take a look at some of the first couple rounds from the draft to see who else the Dorchester Diesels selected. This league is no stranger to controversy, as you know from the draft lottery with that wang bullshit. And it seems to be extending before the regular season began. We'll see the very first trade in Playmakers Fantasy Football. So first up, let's take a look at the draft. We had a great draft a few weeks ago, so let's take a look at the first and second rounds from that draft. So obviously with the roughly the top 20 players off the board with the keeper system. In the first round, Maurice Jones-Drew was selected by Prestige Worldwide. Obviously a good running back to add to their core. Steven Jackson by the Mass Marauders, adding to Arian Foster alongside of him. Drew Brees with the Northborough Town Runks. Frank Gore, who was the #1 pick last year, if you remember, by the California Muscle, or should I say the late California Muscle. They're no longer in this league. Andre Johnson for Dorchester, adding to that great 1-2 punch with Adrian Peterson. Calvin Johnson for Cromartie's kid. Roddy White with Skinny Buddha. Michael Turner with the Dr. Scientist Collective. Tom Brady, a source of controversy this week. He was drafted by Gridiron Tough, but so was Phillip Rivers. So obviously, you have two stud quarterbacks there. There's not room for two quarterbacks. We don't have a league where you start two quarterbacks, so you can't do that. So we'll take a look at what happened with him in a moment. And Peyton Hillis rounds out the top 10 picks in the first round, going to the Carpet Pissers. If we transition over to the second round, Larry Fitzgerald with the Carpet Pissers, another great solid pick there. Greg Jennings, Hakeem Nicks, Skinny Buddha, a topic of controversy this week, or should I say in the news pretty heavily with a trade proposed earlier this week. They selected Peyton Manning, who, as you all know, is likely out for the season. Ahmad Bradshaw, one of my favorites, to Cromartie's kids. Matt Forte to the Dorchester Diesels. Felix Jones, Deshaun Jackson, Reggie Wayne on the Mass Marauders for a second straight season. And rounding out the second round, D'Angelo Williams to the Prestige Worldwide. So that's a draft, at least the first two rounds in a nutshell. Again, as I mentioned, controversy in this league. Let's go take a look at the trade proposed just prior to Thursday night's kickoff between Green Bay and the Saints. So a trade has been proposed. This is what it looks like. It probably has gone through at this point. I don't know that there were many objections, but maybe I'm wrong. So Skinny Buddha has proposed a trade to acquire the rights to Tom Brady in exchange for Wes Welker and Pierre Thomas. Interesting. On the surface, the trade looks a little lopsided. I gotta be honest as a broadcast journalist. But if you consider, and I'm not trying to justify this, but if you consider point per reception league, Wes Welker is a valuable player in this league. 86 catches last year, so clearly there's some value there. It's not as though he just threw him, some dud receiver. Wes Welker is a formidable receiver, especially in this league of point per receptions. But you take a look at those numbers again. Let's put it back up on the screen. From 2010, Brady had 420 fantasy points. There's no doubt he's a stud, and it's not every day that you get lucky replacing a stud like Peyton Manning for a stud like Tom Brady. So again, questions there. But Wes Welker for a receiver, 213 points, again with those 86 receptions and 7 touchdowns. Pierre Thomas, not bad, but he is on a running back by committee type of team, so we'll see how that works out. So let's take a look at the slate of games this week. As you know, we had a Thursday night game, which Aaron Rodgers just tore it apart. So did Drew Brees, I might add. So let's take a look now at the slate of games for Week 1 in the Playmakers Fantasy Football League. Skinny Buddha is playing Mass Marauders this week. The Marauders, obviously, with Aaron Rodgers, and got 33.7 points from him. The Cromartie's Kids and Carpet Pissers have yet to begin. Obviously didn't have any players on Thursday. The Northborough Town Drunks off to a great start against the Dr. Scientist Collective. Get confused with that. Gridiron Tough had a lot of players on Thursday night between both Green Bay and the Saints, going up against Prestige Worldwide. And then rounding out the 5 games for this week, the Dorchester Diesels playing the Bushmills. Bushmills already underway, and it should be a great week of games this week for Week 1 of Playmakers Fantasy Football League. We will see you at the Week 1 recap later on this week. Best of luck to all the owners this week, and have a great football Sunday. Thanks.